Half Americans are skipping summer vacation right now due to financial challenges. 2/3 of Americans are falling behind in their bills. Jobs report came back. Unemployment, the highest it's been since 2021. The average wedding today is $30,000. When I saw that article, I said, there's no way that's the average wedding for a Middle Eastern. That's the average American wedding. You can probably save $170,000 if you marry an American versus a Middle Eastern. This doesn't apply to everybody. People are feeling stuck in their jobs. Bosses are starting to worry. What's this story all about? Companies like McKinsey, Synchrony Financial, and Exact Sciences are implementing strategies such as increased mobility budgets, job swaps, and role expansions to combat feeling of being stuck and provide new experiences for employees. McKinsey's goal is to help staffers gain a more global understanding of the world by working in different cities or countries. Voluntary turnover within companies have decreased from 17% in 2022 to 12% in 2023, leading to fewer internal moves and promotions. This has resulted in lower regrettable turnover and fewer opportunities for career advancement, causing frustrations amongst employees. Companies like Allstate are prioritizing internal recruitment by setting up career-focused conversations and creating tools to see open projects within the company. This strategy aims to fill more roles internally, with Allstate increasing its internal hires from 45% to 60%, showing that the company values employees' career progression. Tom.
This is the unintended consequence of work from home. And let me paint the picture for you. People working from home could not have those dozen conversations with your boss a week that were mentoring opportunities. Hey, look, I got this halfway done. What are your thoughts on that? Can you give me a few pointers to finish this up? All of that is off the table because you're just on a Zoom with your team to get something done. So you've turned yourself into a remote robot, not a member of a team. Now companies are coming back saying, hey, we want to develop the people inside and do internal hires to promote them. But some of these people we don't have good visibility to. Some of these people really haven't developed. And so companies right now, we've seen a lot of layoffs this year, not as much as a year ago and 2 years ago, but layoffs are coming. And what companies want is the best of the best. They're talking about we need to expose people to the fact that, hey, there's a promotion you could get. Why don't you mentor with me a little more and aim yourself for that promotion? You're a good quality people. Companies want to keep the best, yet the work from home and everything has allowed some of the good people who made the bad choice to stay working from home, didn't get the visibility to the boss. And so now this is unintended consequences coming home to roost.
You know, the whole concept of people feeling stuck in their jobs. Do you know the average amount of jobs someone works in their lifetime? The answer is 12. So 12 different jobs. The average job is about 3 to 5 years. So you're going to plan on working for 50 years. The name of the game is figuring out where you want to be long term. You know, there's a difference between having a job versus having a profession. That's the difference between being a jack of all trades versus being a specialist. I've been at my company in the financial services world for 18 years. Most people don't spend more than 5 years at a job. They go from job to job. They're moving for a better paycheck, a better opportunity. People want a work-life balance. I want the perfect work-life balance. Well, Pat, you talk about this all the time. If you want success in your life, buddy, forget about a work-life balance. You better work. You know, the way that I operate is I like doing the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 rule. 80% of my life I spend working, reading, strategizing, improving. And then 20%, yeah, I'd like to enjoy life a little bit. But if you want to have success in your life, if you want to find meaning in your life, you got to work your tail off. Last point, you know, they say, should you follow the passion or should you follow the money? Well, neither. Follow what your talent is, what you're good at. If you double down at that, the money will come and you're also going to get passionate about it because you're good, because they say that competence will turn to confidence. This whole conversation about turnover and regrettable turnover and people feeling stuck. If you follow what you're good at, the rest will fall into place.
Yeah. So, you know, for me, I think a big part of this is the company's fault. So, for example, parents, I can't get my kids to read. How do you make them read? I don't even understand and relate to what you mean you can't get your kids to read. What do you mean you can't get your kids to read? Right now, if you saw my daughter come behind me and walk past over, I don't know if you saw that or not, is because she came, she's reading the book right now, and she gave me a report after she read the 20 pages. Why did she do that? None of the benefits of the day she gets until she reads. What are the benefits? Playing outside during the summer, going in the pool. You get zero benefits unless if you read a book. Now, you may say that's extreme. That's your problem. That's not mine. That's my vision of what I want to do. But when I'm sitting there and I'm having conversations with my kids and I'm enjoying the conversations, when they're pulling up stories that I didn't even know about, did you know such and such person in 1850 did this? Did you know this person? I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. How'd you learn that? Oh, I read it in this one book. So opportunities expand for your children the more well-read they are with the material. Guess what, Mr. and Mrs. CEO? If you say, don't worry about it, work from home. You don't have to read. You don't have to do this, babe. You don't have to do that. You're raising people that have limited in their opportunities. So you're running a corporation. You're like, oh, don't worry. I understand the work from home principle. These executives don't get it. These rich millionaires and billionaires don't get it. We understand we have families. All these guys care about is money, but I care about your mental health. I care about your emotional health. Give me a flipping break. You just destroyed their career. You wasted 4 years of opportunity for them. And now you're sitting around and saying, well, we are feeling stuck because bosses are starting to worry. No shit, you're worried. You're worried because of the policies you came up with. Who told you that those were good ideas? Now you're paying the price for it. And these guys are sitting around saying, well, listen, I liked it. And by the way, even later on, sometimes when parents make a decision that kids like temporarily, when kids grow up, you know who they resent? The parents with low standards. Think about it. Sometimes you have a boss, you're like, man, this guy's so chill. I leave at 3:30. He doesn't say shit. I come in at 9:45. No one knows. He's like, he does one of these wink stuff. Don't worry about it. I got you. But you know what you just did? You just destroyed this guy's potential. You destroyed this guy's upside. Why would you do the wink manager? Because you're so concerned about having people like you. 5 years is gone. That's it. You lost 5 years. So if you got 40 years of running, 1/8 of it is wasted because you had a lazy ass boss with low standards. And a lot of these companies are experiencing that. And then the future potential of somebody is wiped out, thinking this was a good idea. Anyways, that's my thoughts when I think about stories like this, because I think it's the standard of the boss that's doing it. And they're hurting some of the people that maybe have a bigger vision and dream of what they want to do. Nearly half of Americans are skipping summer vacation due to flight costs. This is a Newsweek story. Nearly half Americans are interested in taking a summer vacation are not doing so due to rising air travel costs, with 44% citing expensive flights as the reason, according to a Newsweek poll by Redfield and Wilson Strategies. The consumer price index for airline tickets has increased by 25% over the past year, with an 18.6% jump in April alone. What? Rising fuel prices and operational costs, coupled with a supply-demand imbalance, are driving up airfares. Jesse Newgerton, CEO of Dollar Fight Club, stated fuel is one of the largest expenses for airlines, and as global oil prices have risen, these costs have been passed on to travelers. The poll shows that 50% of Republican voters and 43% Democratic voters are avoiding air travel this summer due to high costs. Cost of living increases are impacting travel plans, and 54% of those not vacationing citing high living costs. What does it have to do with Republicans? So 54% of Republican voters are skipping summer travel and only 43%. Does that mean Democrats are richer than Republicans, or does that mean Democrats are more irresponsible with their money than Republicans? Tom, what do you think?
If you go down the split, Democrats are more willing to use consumer credit. There's multiple reports on this. There's some socio-demographic things in here, but there's three things at work here. Thing number one, we got 1.1 trillion in credit card debt, so people don't have the extra space on the credit cards. Number two, we've been talking about it, and people have been out there. There are the deniers. We're at a 25 to 30% cumulative inflation effect going back 3 years. That has made everything more expensive at home. So that point number three, when fuel is expensive and it's more expensive to fly this year than it would normally be, I don't have the credit card space, and my overall cost of living has kind of crushed me. So there's a cumulative effect here that people can't fly. And they ran the survey and they found out, if you look at it, 43, 54, that's not so far apart. It's basically half of America is saying, I can't do it. And this is sad. This is Bidenomics. This is all coming home to roost here. And now we're seeing, what is it happening? It's happening with people that can't afford to buy a house. And now it's people that can't afford to even take a vacation this summer.
There's a couple different stories here. 2/3 of middle Americans say they're falling behind due to the cost of living. So on the surface, it's like, oh my God, 2/3 of Americans can't afford to pay their bills. They're living paycheck to paycheck. But if you unravel that a little bit, that 2/3 number of Americans hasn't deviated in decades. The top Americans, the top 10% are going to be fine. They're making $250,000, $500,000. Some of those people are still somehow living paycheck to paycheck, cost of living, but they're okay. The bottom 20%, I mean, the welfare state, they're not going anywhere on vacation. Maybe they're going to the beach if they're lucky or their local lake. But the mass proportionality of Americans, 2/3 of them, live paycheck to paycheck. This was true under Bush when he gave the stimulus checks during 2008. This was true during Obama. This was true during Trump. It's true during Biden. It's also unfortunately going to be true when Trump retakes the White House, most likely. What's my point? These are the moves that you're going to have to make if you're an American that you actually want to get ahead. Maybe you don't go on that vacation this summer. Maybe instead of going to Europe or going to Paris or going to London or going to Ibiza, you stay in America, bro. Go to Detroit. See what's going on there. Go to the hills in Michigan. Go to the Great Lakes. Check out California. So rather than your $5,000 vacation, maybe it's only $2,500. Maybe that $2,500 extra bucks, you pay off your credit card. Maybe you put that into a Roth IRA. Little moves like this will get you ahead. One little point, the flight that they talk about here, where they said 44% of Americans are citing flights as being too expensive. Dude, that's the tip of the iceberg. A flight might be $200, $500, $1,000. What do you think the hotel costs? Okay, so when you go and travel, the hotel's probably going to be triple the price collectively. So if your flight's $500, your hotel costs will probably be $2,000. These little things here, are little moves you can make, are things to get ahead. Then you have this story about a wedding costs $30,000. People are saying, you know what? Forget a $30,000 wedding. Let me try to do a $3,000 wedding. In the short term, it might suck, but in the long term, when you're debt free, when you save money, and you actually have now 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand to travel, you'll thank yourself a few years later.
I think I learned a lot, why Adam's having a hard time with marriage, because
it's expensive.
If I read it correctly, what Adam just said is, babe, if we get married, I'm going to take you on our honeymoon to Detroit. And we're going to have a great time. And our wedding will be a $3,000 shotgun wedding at a local church synagogue here in, Israel. I'm sorry, Boca Raton. We're going to get married here. But think about it. All that money we're going to be able to save to be at Elite Uber. I mean, maybe that's the dream he's selling. Can you imagine he's talking dirty to his girl? Babe, if you marry a guy like me, I'm going to take you to Detroit. No way.
Ain't nothing wrong with Detroit, Rock City, PBD.
I'm just saying that's how he's selling the dream. Vinny, go ahead. What are your thoughts on this?
I get it when you said this is under this president or that president, but if you think about it, this is not only a Republican conservative problem now. You even said Democrats are complaining. Let's point right at the problem. This is that Bidenomics. The economy's good. They keep BSing like they do every single day. The price of everything is up. Groceries, everything, gas prices, crime, every number, every metric of every single problem that we have is all going up. And I want people to point at it. These are just horrible policies. And I think if it was Trump, you actually think if Trump was in, this would be this out of control? I think not. I think it'd be the other way. What did the CEO of that cereal company say a couple months ago? He's like, hey, we know everybody's poor right now. Have a box of cereal for dinner.
For breakfast and for
dinner. Hey, guys, to hell with, candlelight dinner, steak. Bring her to the house. Have some Fruity Pebbles. You can go. All the prices are up. Everybody's complaining. Nobody's happy. And it's because we have an administration. Like, I'm not saying Biden anymore. I'm done saying that. We've all known forever it's not him making the decision. It's this administration. They know what they're doing. They're trying to ruin the freaking country. I call it for what it is. It's the policies. Everybody's pissed off at this one thing, and it's just nonstop.
PBD, my question would be, how do you grapple with the story that you tell about make sure the young wolf in you takes care of the old wolf in you? So what do I mean? You've been pretty open about when you first married Jen, you weren't buying her a lot of luxury things. You bought her a Kate Spade purse for $500. Now you're buying her whatever she wants. So what's the story there? You actually save more and pay attention to the finances short term. Long term, you could do whatever the hell you want. Because I did that. Now I'm not going to take my girl to Detroit. I'll take her to Paris.
But I'll tell you this. Last night, if you were here, I got Jen probably the wildest gift she's ever gotten outside of the house and all this other stuff that we've done. She got a really nice gift last night. And when we were getting married, my wife, till today, this is what most people don't know. I bought a $3,000 ring for my wife. Literally, it's to be exact, $3,300. And that's not because I didn't have money, but I bought a $3,300 ring for my wife. And I said, at our 10-year anniversary, I'll buy you a $50,000 ring, something really nice. She said, I don't want it. I'd much rather go to Monaco. Let's go and stay there for a week, first class, all this stuff. No problem. We went and we did that. And then I said, she says, hey, babe, I really want a nice purse one day. No problem. One day after 3 kids, maybe. But I'm Mr. Coach. I don't know how many Coach purses I bought. They were the best, $300 Coach. They knew me. I was like one of these customers that are B-backs. I'm like, nobody buys more Coach purses than this guy. I was a mad returning customer. I would go back. When we had Senna, our first daughter, I bought her a Chanel purse. And I went to the hospital and I gave it to her and she was grateful for it. And then our 15-year anniversary just happened June 26th and she got a nice watch. No, I think that's how you lead your family. So, Adam, I am way more on your end of being cost effective with the money now because life is so expensive. And I know that part is we're being comical and I'm having fun with it. But trust me, I'm part of that community of saving that money. You know where Jen and I went on our honeymoon? We drove 2 hours and we went to Santa Barbara. We stayed at Bacara Hotel. No flight, no nothing. We went, we came back. It was 2 nights. That was it. I'm like, babe, I can't afford to be gone for too long. I'm running a company. She understood. She's like, yeah, I totally get it. But I think the over-under of Adam getting married is now above 60 years old. That's just what I looked at Vegas odds while we're going through this. It was like above 50. I think now we're above 60. Who knows?
Tom, how much money did you spend when you bought a ring? How'd that work out?
I was at a part of my career, I had to be moderate. And Kim knew it. I got something that was really meaningful. I didn't spend 10 grand on a ring. And our honeymoon, we had a relative let us use their timeshare in Hawaii, which was not the best timeshare, but we used our money to go to dinner and all the places we could go to make the most out of the honeymoon. And I promised her, I said, look, give me a couple years and we'll go on an amazing trip. Where do you want to go? She said, I'd like to go to Italy. And I said, you got it. And we have a Tiffany silver frame that's engraved that says, happy 2nd anniversary, all my love. We went to Hawaii. It was only 2 years later because there was an unexpected, really big boom that happened with the company I was with. It was fantastic. We're sensible, but we took some of that. And I took her as promised to Italy and we had the best time. We were there about 10 days. That was our delayed honeymoon.